Yes, sir. We're officially back at it. This is Boog Nice coming at you with the Soap Studios Special Edition, The Dark Knight Trilogy, Bruce Wayne and Ras al Ghul figures review. Let's do it.
This ain't for no scalper. You a scalper? Then fuck out shit. This one's for them real collectors. That's army building and posing figures. Marvel Legends, imports, mini matey, I'm fucking with them. Hype beast, we know about you. Stay buying figs, don't know about it.
And a quick look at the back of the box. All right, let's get these guys open. All right, so I'm looking at Bruce Wayne and Ras al Ghul from Soap Studios. This is from the Dark Knight Trilogy. This is the two of them in their League of Shadows gear. And I didn't even actually expect to get this set. I reviewed the Green Arrow and the Flash from the CW television series, and then this just showed up in the mail unannounced today. So thanks to the folks at Soap Studio, and thanks to my man Benji C for being the connect between me and Soap Studio. So I'm happy to take a look at these. It's pretty much more the same. If you peeped my review for the other two figures, it looks like these have the same base buck, so it's a very well articulated buck. And it looks like the clothing has just about the same amount of give as the other two figures, so you are able to move them around in this clothing pretty damn well. They're fun figures to mess around with, but there are some QC issues. There are some things that I want to discuss. And, I like that everybody has been really honest in the comments when I posted the pictures of these on my Instagram and in the comments of the reviews of the other two figures. So keep that up. This is stuff that they need to see and, be honest, so that way they can make improvements and they can keep pushing this line forward. In no way, shape, or form are they fucking with Mezco right this moment, but these figures do have a lot of fun factor, and there's a lot of kid bashing potential here too that I want to explore. But all right, let's get into these guys. Let's get into their accessories. All right, taking a look at Bruce Wayne first, being as though he comes with the least amount of accessories, just a couple of hands and a sword basically, but I wanted to take a look at his deco. I will say that they've been doing a pretty good job as far as the clothing goes. It does look natural, it looks good, it looks clean. I've seen a couple of people say that these look a little cheap, they look like knockoffs. I've seen all the comments, I read all the comments, I try to respond to as many as possible. This is one of my issues already, look at that right there. But anyway, I do think that this deco looks okay. It looks decent to me, it looks pretty accurate to the movie. I don't really have a problem with how he moves in this, like I mentioned earlier. But if you take a close look at this head sculpt, it is very soft like the other ones, like the Flash and like Green Arrow. There is a little bit of resemblance to Bruce Wayne here from the movie, to Christian Bale, but not really. This is not the greatest head sculpt. It does not look that great in my personal opinion. It looks pretty generic, and yeah, it's not the greatest. But aside from that, like I said, I think the deco looks good. These spikes here are sharp to the touch. I think these hands are a little on the large side, and this is an issue that I've had with all of the figures. The forearm popping out of the socket where the elbow bend is from the upper arm, and then you having to kind of like play a funny game to get it back into the socket and to line things up without you seeing it. And yeah, that's one of my major issues with this. So, the head sculpt is not that great. There's one QC issue already. And yeah, man. All right, let's get into his accessories. The good thing is a lot of these parts are removable. So I was able to take off this gauntlet and then fix the sleeve, took off his hand, took off the gauntlet, fixed the sleeve, and then I was able to stick the forearm back into the upper arm and shoulder. Now I'll put this back on, then I'll do these hand swaps. So aside from the two open hands, he comes with two fists. And I got to tell you, this was frustrating trying to get this back on, and it's still not right, but I'm going to just move along. And then he's got a set that are semi-open and cupped, and these will be to hold his final accessory. That is his sword, which looks okay, not too bad, kind of sharp to the touch. The blade is not too flimsy, it's okay. Let's see how it fits in his hand, see how that looks. So I guess that's firm. The handle is not that big, so I guess you can get him to hold it with both hands. One sec. Alright, there's that, but that was surely an exercise in patience. But as you can see, the body is pretty well articulated. I'm going to go over the articulation while I have him here. That was his last accessory, and look, this arm is coming out too. This is a pain in the butt, but the head and neck is all one piece, so you can get them to rotate a little bit, look down, look up a little bit. Shoulders will come up pretty far. Considering the cloth clothing, you can get the shoulders up pretty far. You can get them up far this way. There is a butterfly joint in there as well. There is a nice deep double jointed elbow here, and it looks like the wrist articulation on these figures is a little better than the previous two, because it looks like this hinge might be moving a little bit, and I don't feel like the hinge was moving like that on the other two figures. So you do get rotation and a little bit of hinge on the wrist. You get a pretty decent ab crunch going forward and back. You have upper torso articulation as well as articulation at the lower abdomen. You can turn them left to right at the abdomen. The legs will come up pretty far. You'll get a decent split, even more so than the Flash and Green Arrow, because these pants are even a little more loose than their pants. And you get a double jointed knee, and you get a little bit of hinge on the foot, rotation, pivot, all of that good stuff, toe joint. And again with this, but that does lend for you to have a little bit more articulation, even though it does look like a prosthetic and you have to keep lining that up right. But again, he does get pretty decent articulation. When the arm is not hanging out the socket, then you know, you can get him in kicks and jumps and squats and all types of stuff. It's a very well articulated buck, even if this one is still a little slender for these two guys. I don't think it's the right actual body type. So I just actually took the gauntlets off of Bruce Wayne. It was easier to just pop his arms back in the socket and put the hands on, and now he's chilling in the back. And I'm looking at Ras al Ghul, who looks pretty good. It's pretty much just an all black ninja outfit with the same gauntlets as Bruce Wayne, just in all black, and the black boots. There's some brown on the back actually. I would assume this is accurate to the movie. I do think that the likeness here for Ras is better than Bruce Wayne. I do think this looks like Liam Neeson a little bit. It's definitely much better than Bruce. It's still soft. It could definitely have benefited from a little more shading in the hair, maybe a couple more wrinkles or something on the face, but it's better than Bruce for certain. Same articulation scheme. I don't think he's hindered at all. You're still going to get the same amount of give in this suit. And, you know, the attraction for this particular figure is, you know, he could just double as a generic ninja for the most part. But yeah, let's look at his accessories. And I'm pretty sure the two swords here belong to Ras. These both have the black blade, whereas the other one had the silver blade that I put with, that I paired with Bruce. And these look fine, pretty much the same material and the same width and everything. I don't know if this is supposed to have this little indentation right here though, if that's supposed to be like that. But there's one longer than the other, and he can hold them with no problem. He also comes with a set of fists, which I'm not going to swap on right now because I don't feel like risk taking the gauntlets off or popping his arms out of the socket. I'm not dealing with that right this moment. But let's get into his ninja gear. He comes with this armor part, which looks like it'll just slip over his head and body once you take the head off. Yeah, I guess. And you can see there's a sheath for the sword, so let's get this on. And there are actually some instructions included in this box, but I see that the armor just separates on the left and right side here. I ain't looking at no stinking instructions, and it looks like you'll just be able to slide it on over and snap it back after that. I'll do that. And there's a look at that. That looks good. Now I feel like getting the head back on is going to be a pain in the ass. Look at how that's bunched up there. But considering that the armor is kind of restrictive in the upper torso, you still can actually articulate him at the lower abdomen pretty good. You know, you're still actually moving him around pretty good with this armor snapped on tight on both sides too. And then I forgot about one other little accessory. They've got the little quarter sword, I guess, so you could just pop this in here to make it look like his sword is sheathed. And that looks cool. Now let's see if we can get the masked head on. And damn it, I really don't like the way this masked head looks. It looks a little funny. I'm not really a fan of that. I really wish this looked a little more sleek, a little better. It looks a little bulky. I don't know. Something seems off here. I wish this was better because I really just want to have a nice generic ninja to go up They go up against some of my Mezco figures, I guess. I mean, it still works. Either with or without the armor, it definitely still works, but I'm not a fan of this this masked head. It definitely looks a little odd. This right here is unprecedented, though. I mean, you're not getting any figure with cloth clothing to squat down like this. Maybe you'll be able to get one of the Spider-Man figures. Not really. That's why I didn't buy any of the Mezco Spider-Man figures, because I don't feel like they had the greatest articulation. But I have seen some pictures recently of that black suit Spider-Man that look pretty decent as far as the posability. But this right here is something to behold. And you know, that looks pretty cool, but you know, still kind of underwhelming overall. I haven't looked at the price point on these yet. I'm scared to look at what the price point is for this 2-pack. And let it be known, they both came with stands too. So you get the 2 sets of hands or 3 sets of hands with both of these guys, couple swords, 1 interchangeable head for Ras with the armor and everything, and the stands. So that's pretty much it. And a couple quick size comparisons. On the far left, we have the Soap Studios CW The Flash figure. And then on the far right, we have the Marvel Legends Cyclops and Dark Phoenix 2-pack Cyclops. And then we have the Mezco Punisher here. Pretty sure that was the first version, just holding the body armor from the deluxe version. And you can see how that ninja scales up with the Ras al Ghul ninja scales up with the Mezco Punisher there. So again, putting this guy up, or this buck, or this particular figure up against some of the Mezco figures, it would look pretty cool, especially for some variation, being as though the Mezco figures are very buff. You know, when you think ninja, you think more sleek anyway. You think more slender. You don't think of real like super buff ninjas. So I think that works out pretty cool to pair this guy up against Daredevil or something like that. That would be dope. Or even Punisher, Wolverine, doesn't matter. It would be cool to have maybe 2 or 3 of these ninjas and just use them as generic ninjas. But again, I haven't looked at the price point yet, so that could be rather expensive. That could be a very expensive army build. And there is the NECA Planet of the Apes gorilla guy. I don't remember his name. On the far left, sitting down. On the far right, you got the SH Figure Arts Tony Stark. And right next to Ras, you have the Mezco Daredevil. And I like the way those stack up. That looks pretty cool. I might get a display going with the 2 of those. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to explore this a bit more on Instagram and in my next video and what have you. But, you know, a little underwhelming. I'm going to look at the price right now, too. Hold on one second. Yowzers. So I'm looking at Batman Begins, Bruce Wayne, and Henry Duckard 2-pack. That's $139. Then I'm looking at one that's $199. What the heck is going on? That's crazy. All right, so that's very expensive considering what you get here, considering that the head sculpts are not that great and that there are some QC issues. I don't know if it's worth that amount of money. As a matter of fact, it's not worth that amount of money. There is a lot of potential here. There is a lot of fun factor. There's a lot of kit bash possibilities, which I'm absolutely going to explore. But for you to spend that amount of money, you want your base figure, you want the figure that they intended you to have to be near perfect at that price point. You know, these are a little overpriced. I've heard people say that domestically, you know, there is a way to get them domestically and not pay Big Bad Toy Store's markup or whatever the case may be. And they might be, well, somebody told me locally in Hong Kong, they was about $50 a pop, which is much better, but still kind of pricey for what you're getting here. Maybe $40, $45, $50 is not terrible actually for cloth clothing though. It's not the worst, but still not the best. So like I said, look for me to explore more possibilities and more things on Instagram and in the next video. And thanks for hanging out. As always, rate, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell down there. And until next time, peace.
That's crispy.